dogged down by the pandemic. And I have to say, I'm sorry that I had to cancel at short notice the programme in December. There was a good reason for it. My mother, who is nearly 90, had to go in and out of hospital several times at very short notice. Luckily, it wasn't COVID, but it was an emergency. So, and I was the one who had to keep ferrying her and taking her and looking after her. So everything was a bit fraught. That's why we cancelled. Happily, she's fine now, and she's just had, a few days ago, her first COVID jab. I cannot wait to have my COVID vaccine jab, but obviously I'm happy to wait for the proper time to be called. But anyway, as I said, apologies for the delay in having this programme and the delay in answering your questions. And particular apologies to the 3 long-suffering people who won the previous giveaway. You will be getting your copy of Viper's Daughter paperback with the first chapter of Skin Taker in it. We haven't forgotten. It's just been a bit delayed, but you'll be getting it in the next few days. Still on giveaways, to make up for that, we've got another free giveaway today. Not 3 books that we're giving away, but 10. We're giving away 10 free downloads of the audiobook of Viper's Daughter, read by the inimitable, great Ian McKellen. And as always, it's really easy to enter the competition for that. And the deadline for that is to enter the competition is the 22nd of February. And here's a little video about how you go about doing it.
And now for the biggest giveaway we've ever had. 10 lucky winners will receive the entire Viper's Daughter audiobook to keep for free forever. 10 winners. One of them may be you. To win, simply send an email to this address: win@vipersdaughter.com. We'll pick 10 winners at random. Feeling lucky? You could be. win@vipersdaughter.com. And now for the
Wow, I love the green flames. Elf really outdid himself there. And as I said, the deadline for that is the 22nd of February. I think we'll be reminding you of that deadline in February at some stage on Twitter and that sort of thing. Well, we thought also we weren't going to, that wasn't going far enough. We thought everybody needs a bit of cheering up during the pandemic. So we're trying to do our bit. And so we're giving away a free present to absolutely everybody. And it's this. Over the next 4 weeks, we're serialising the whole of the Viper's Daughter audiobook, as read by Ian McKellen, on my YouTube channel. And it's going to be in 4 roughly 2-hour chunks. And again, here's how to get it.
For the next 4 weeks only, you can listen to the entire Viper's Daughter audiobook, narrated by Sir Ian McKellen.
A bat flitted past Torak as he drew an arrow from his quiver. Wolf raised his muzzle and sniffed the breeze. He glanced at Torak, then into the thicket. There.
Serialized for free on YouTube. Here's how to listen. Go to Michelle's YouTube channel. Just type this short link into your browser and it will take you there. yt.michellepaver.com. You can share this link with your friends. There'll be a new episode every week, so make sure you subscribe to her channel. yt.michellepaver.com. Pass it on.
So there you go. I hope that is attractive to you. I hope you enjoy it. The thing to do, as the video said, is subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a nice short link, yt.michellepaver.com. And if you subscribe, the thing to do is subscribe, once this program finishes or soon as you can, and then you'll be notified as soon as the first episode is available, which will be, very shortly. So the thing to do is subscribe, and then you will be notified. So anyway, I hope you all enjoy that. Let's keep our spirits up. So now it's time for questions and comments. Ask Michelle Paver. Oops, there we go. Ask Michelle Paver anything. Thank you to everyone who's sent in questions. And we get so many of them that, I'll answer as many as I possibly can. I can't show every single word of every single one because some of them are quite long, but do rest assured that I have read them all. So without further ado, let's get cracking. Firstly, I've got a little clutch where I have to, about the delay. The first one is from Alexander, who's a lovely one. He was enthralled by the books as a teenager. You were asking me for a sample of my handwriting for Christmas quiz. I'm sorry that that fell on deaf ears. I apologise for that. A lovely one from Mike Amos, who was actually pleased that I postponed it because you had stuff to do on the solstice, which sounds quite intriguing. So thank you for that, Mike. And there's also a nice one from Deirdre, who's a teen librarian in Connecticut in the States. And I'm sorry for the delay. Deirdre had a lovely idea. She was hosting a virtual field trip to a wolf conservation centre. I hope that went really well. Deirdre wanted me to spread the word. Of course, I couldn't. As a general point, actually, I should mention that, you probably, those of you who are regulars, know that the Ask Michelle any the chat, typing something on the ask bit in my website, you're not going to get an answer quickly or a response because, I don't do these things every week. And so it's not great if you want something done quickly. But I'm sorry about that, Deirdre. But I hope it went well. Here we have a nice one from Anthony, who's been reading my ghost stories, really enjoyed Dark Matter and Thin Air. This was sent back in November, and you'd ordered Wakenhurst. I hope since then you've read it and enjoyed it. And here we have some lovely comments, actually. I try to categorise these things. One from Neve, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yes, it is the right place to say how much you adored my Wolf Brother books when you were younger, and you stopped reading when you went to college and suffered depression. And I think that does hit young people sometimes. And you lost your passion for doing lots of things, including reading. But I'm glad it's coming back, and I'm really pleased that the old Wolf Brother books are helping you. I hope you're on the mend, Neve, or at least learning how to manage your condition. It's such a horrible illness. It really is. Catherine now, who was a huge fan of Chronicles and is now in your early 20s, just finished university, been rereading the books in anticipation of Viper's Daughter. Well, again, maybe by now you've read Viper's Daughter. You say the books were a friend and a comfort to me when I was younger. Oh, that's so lovely. And I've enjoyed falling in love with the world again. Thank you. Dexter, who has COAD remains one of my favourite series of all time. And they helped, make friends. And I'm delighted with that, and pursue writing yourself. Well, that's fantastic, and good luck with that. A very poignant one from Gunnar, thanking me for my depiction of Ulf, which is wolf. Oh, this is so sad. You had a beautiful dog, and it reminds you of your gorgeous German Shepherd, who was so like a wolf. They are that this brought back, and you lost him shortly after that gorgeous photo was taken. I'm so sorry for your loss. We had an Alsatian when I was a baby, and that's my first memory was of a dog like that. I'm glad that reading the books helped you a bit, and again, I'm really sorry for your loss. Now we've got two linked ones, actually. One from Cynthia Ann Miller, who's a teacher in the States at Murphy Junior High in Plainfield, Illinois. Sound like a brilliant teacher, actually. You've been teaching the Wolf Brother, because you teach early history to seventh graders, you've been doing all sorts of amazing activities. They decided a clan name based on their mutual interests, created a clan tattoo to identify themselves, extended wolf talk to include everyday items in their world. That's just brilliant. So hello to everyone in the seventh grade history at Murphy Junior High. Hello to everyone at Murphy Junior High. I'm so glad you've been enjoying my book and all the activities that your truly talented and wonderful teacher has devised. I hope you know how lucky you are. It's really sounds as though you've been enjoying it. I hope you have. It sounds as if you have. And again, congratulations on having such a great teacher. And David, the next comment comes from a student at Murphy Junior High in the seventh grade, and it's very well expressed, David, how much you enjoyed the book. A bit of criticism about the ending, which I welcome criticism. It just seemed to, that Torak didn't do as much as perhaps you expected him to do. Well, I did think about this, but he's only 12. And you're absolutely right that it was intentional because it's the first in the series. And I thought, I can't have him sort of laying waste to things when he's only 12. And I wanted to, save up a little bit for when he gets a bit more proactive in the later books. But thank you for that comment, David. And one from Ryan. Oh, there's me up a tree. Yes. That's a tree I know and love near where I live. And a lovely one from Ryan. Greetings, Ryan. And thank you for having me completely on the edge of my seat with Skin Taker. I read it just before Christmas and it was such a belter. And there's a lovely picture of his gorgeous dog, Nala, with Skin Taker. Why, you may wonder, has Ryan been able to get hold of a copy? Well, Ryan is also a reviewer of books. And so we do send out, that's a proof, and we send out what they call proof copies to reviewers so they can have a chance to read it in advance of publication. So delighted to see that it meets with your approval. Now we move on to a couple of questions about the film or TV. One from Sylvia. If any of the movies are going to be made of any movies are going to be made of your series, and she'd love to act in them. Yes, well, and there's another one from Ethan. Are you excited that your books are coming to life? I think you also mean, I'm guessing you mean film or TV. There are plans for a TV series, a streaming TV series. I can't say anything more about that. No specific announcements. You'll be the first to know, but it's pretty active, let's just say. The good news is that it hasn't been slowed down by the pandemic, which is lovely. Now we have a little clutch of things about sort of availability of books. So I'll go quite quickly through this. First one from Marianne, who sounds like the most amazing grandma and aunt ever. So excited. We've just finished Viper's Daughter, and there are 2 more coming during the pandemic shutdown here in California. Get this. My grandson and I have read together over the phone on Tuesday and Thursday nights every single one of the Wolf Brothers series so far. And I've started the series over again on Wednesday nights with my niece and nephew, and also by phone. Fantastic. That's absolutely amazing. Yes, the next in the series expected this year, 2021. Skin Taker is due in the UK out on the 1st of April, which is April Fool's Day. But there we go. That's when it's due out. Mary is asking whether we'll be releasing Skin Taker in book format. Yes, certainly in the UK. If you're emailing from the States, you said you could only find it in Kindle format. If it's in the States, that may well be true because but I should say that I have been told, I think it was Ryan who told me, there's something called the Book Depository, which will deliver books all over the world to 170 different countries. I did check their website and they do seem to say that they can. So check out the Book Depository, that might help. But I'm afraid at the moment it's not published in book format in the US. Mara, yes, Skin Taker not being signed by any publishers, same question in the US. Again, have a look at the Book Depository. But Mara, if you could get The Viper's Daughter, I would imagine you can get hold of Skin Taker. I'm sorry, I'm not able to be more precise on that because I'm not the publisher. Little triplet of questions on translation. Eruaro, this 8th instalment, will it be available in Spanish? When will it be available in Spanish? I think it'll be available in the same year as it comes out in the UK, or pretty soon thereafter. But again, I'm afraid you'd have to ask the publishers. Alejandro, possible release date in other languages? I don't really. I mean, the only languages I know is Spanish and Swedish. I don't know if it's come out in Swedish yet because I haven't received a copy, but I don't know. And Joseph Hillel, or Hillel Joseph, will it be translated into Hebrew? No plans as yet, I'm afraid, but that could change, but nothing at the moment. Also, Viper's Daughter, Ethan, yes, I'm 25 years old, and I can honestly say this book is something I've been looking forward to. Yes, you've got a friend, and will there be alternative cover art for Viper's Daughter? Because she's got the Wolf Brother in purple. I think you mean that one, don't you? And that one, yeah. Well, there may well be. There is actually, interestingly enough, there is talk of possibly the publishers doing a different cover look for Viper's Daughter and then the ones that come after. But I don't think it'll be like this because, you see, this is published by a different publisher. And the 3 Wolf Brothers sequels are published by a different publisher. So unless they actually manage to get their act together and coordinate, and that might be too complicated, I don't think so. Jordan, yes, are there any box sets being released? Similar sort of answer, really. No plans as yet, and I doubt that the 2 publishers would be able to get their act together to have one. I don't even know how they've managed to do it, to have one box set if you've got 2 publishers. So you might have to make your own box set. But Jordan said, thank you, and your books have been one of my all-time favourite series ever since I first read Wolf Brother under my desk in elementary school. I shouldn't smile, I shouldn't encourage sedition, but that was great. And finally, yes, 2 little things. Grace, I'm sorry, this is a victim of being delayed, but your mother especially loves Thin Air. I was wondering if you get a signed copy. I'm afraid, sorry for the delay, but I'm afraid no, I just don't do signed copies unless I'm actually doing a physical signing, which I'm not at the moment. Not through the post. It would just be too difficult. And that leads me on to Lynn's. Again, apologies for the late reply. And Lynn is inviting me. Would we think about doing a talk, a live talk to your students, March or April? You say 2020, but I'm sure you mean 2021. If COVID is under control, it's not going to be under control by then. Just on the idea of live meets and talks and things, I'm not planning anything. I haven't booked anything in. I don't think I'm going to be doing anything until, who knows, sometime maybe later in the year, but I'm not holding my breath. So now on to some more substantive questions. We have a lovely one, a long one from Frida. I won't be able to show everything, but perhaps we can show some of the pictures. Frida made some, got inspired from the previous MP Live. We were talking about herbs and protective things, and she made, look at that, isn't that gorgeous? Those are from rowan berries. Her sister, as sisters do, said they look like rotting berries, but Frida thinks they're quite beautiful, very earthy and textured, with a light scent. And I agree. I think they're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And Frida does have a question. Why are my books set in the north often? And I think the reason for that, it's very difficult to say, but it goes back to what caught my imagination when I was small. And snow. I just remember we had a few white Christmases when I was young, and that was magic. And I've always loved forests. And I think also when I was a child, I loved the Norse myths, the Viking myths, and Odin, you know, the god who had the wolf and raven attendants. And so that caught my imagination. So I always wanted to go north. which is kind of weird, even though, I was born in Africa. So my parents could never quite work it out, but I think that's the reason. One from Jacob, Jacob in English. Is Viper's Daughter the 7th book of the Wolf Brother series, or is it a new series? It is most definitely the 7th book of the Wolf Brother series. So yes, it's got Torak and Wren and Wolf, and those are the things you really like. So that's an easy one. So there will be an 8th one, which is called Skin Taker, and a 9th and final one, which is called Wolfbane, which I'm writing at the moment. One from Ricky. My son Ollie has read your Wolf Brother book at school and was very hooked. Are there any other books, more books you can recommend? He's 10 years old. Recommend. Well, of course, the rest of the Wolf Brother series. So there are 5 more books in the original series after Wolf Brother, and then there's Viper's Daughter, which has come out, and then Skin Taker will come out. I can also recommend my other series, Gods and Warriors, quite shamelessly recommending my own books, which is set in the Bronze Age. And if you like Wolf Brother, he'll probably like those as well. As for other people's books, I'm not very good at that because I don't have children, so I don't read children's books, modern children's books these days. So I haven't read one for quite a long time. The Dark is Rising was a classic series that I did enjoy by Susan Cooper, but that was written quite a long time ago. But I think it's still in print. One from Caroline Brown. How would the clans? This is an interesting one. I've never been asked this. How would the clans have determined what was prey and what was hunter? Because, of course, a big distinction in the books between hunter and prey. Well, generally, a hunter is a carnivore in our modern terms. And so they would know that because the clans observe animals much better than we do because, they depend on them to survive. And prey is mostly herbivores. It's not completely... there probably are exceptions which somebody can find in the books, but that's the rough and ready rule. But a nice question. Can't wait for Skin Taker as well, you were saying. Rachel, now, why have I clipped these two together? Let me just see. Yes, this is lovely. You a college student. Yes, and I'm hoping to interview some authors a bit for the purposes of writing an essay about the work it takes to write a novel. Yes, I'm sorry. I do get questions for this sort of interview, and I'm afraid I don't really have time at the moment for it. But what I would suggest is that have a little ferret around on my website, michellepaver.com, and wolfbrother.com, because there are things in there. If you really go into the different levels, that you'll find quite a few things where I talk about different aspects of writing and how I got the idea for Wolf Brother. So I hope that will give you some clues, and good luck with that. Mr. Gardner has a class who's used Wolf Brother as a text and loved it. I'm glad to hear that. And you've got you've come up with, as a part of a comprehension thing, a whole lot of different questions. I'll pick a few. What made you write Wolf Brother? Well, there, I won't answer it because it's quite a long answer. But if you go to my website, now let me get this right, wolfbrother.com, and then if you go into the section called Cave, and you ferret around in there, you'll find a piece about why I wrote Wolf Brother. So that answers that one. How long did it take to write the book? It took me about 10 months, rather. I think it was a few months research, sort of riding around Lapland on a horse, and then about 5 months writing the first draft, and then about 3 or 4 months rewriting, lots and lots of rewriting. Where did I get the name Torak from? I made it up. At least I thought I made it up. And then when I was doing research for the second book in Greenland, an Inuit girl said, Torak, that means perfect in my language. So there we go. Isn't that weird? And here we have one from, I don't know how to pronounce your name, Mu Blomqvist, or Me Blomqvist. I'm sorry. But your English is really good. It's just my pronunciation is not so good. If your books are inspired by something that happened in real life or in your life, earlier life. Yes, as I said, the inspiration for Wolf Brother is largely described if you go to michellepaver.com, then go into the cave, wolfbrother.com, I think it is, and go into the cave. wolfbrother.com, go into the cave, and then there's a section why I wrote Wolf Brother. But it does go right back to my earliest memory when I was a baby, and my parents had a beautiful Alsatian dog called Sheba. So my first nice memory was of a big wolf-like dog. I hope that helps a bit. Now, Anthony said, oh yes, he came across a wolf-related book set at a jumble called Wild Animus, which I haven't heard of. I haven't come across it. And the question is, have you ever thought of developing an experience box set of music and art and novels about wolves for your readers? I haven't really. No, I think Chronicles of Ancient Darkness, the Wolf Brother books, is my contribution about wolves. But I would say, I was talking about this in the live chat room just before coming on, if anyone has seen or is going to see the new David Attenborough series, Perfect Planet, I watched the one last night, and it's set in, part of it's in the Arctic, and there was a lovely footage of Arctic wolves. And then at the end, they have the sort of behind the scenes bit. I recommend you to watch that, because there's this marvelous cameraman who's Rolf. He's incredibly determined to film Arctic wolves in the polar night, and he does, and it's amazing. But what's really amazing is what happens at the end. And he has a close encounter with a wolf, which is just fantastic. Now we've got two, I think it's from the same people, same person, SRT and ST, asking for, they've inspired you to want to read more and write about the Stone Age. What book references did I have? Well, I've got 3 bookshelves full of books, which helped me write Chronicles. So I've tried to think logically about this, and I don't really know if you mean study or write about the Stone Age. So let's say write about. First of all, there's archaeology. Well, look, there's not one particular book on the Stone Age. Loads of really good ones. They don't have to be that academic. There's this one's a good one. Early People, Dorling Kindersley. It's probably quite old, but it's got gorgeous pictures and artifacts and things. Something basic on archaeology. If you want something, I don't know what level you're at, which is a bit more academic but brilliant. The Mind in the Cave by David Lewis Williams is about just that. The Mind in the Cave, and that was a very formative book for me. But it's not, that's archaeology. Then there's also anthropology, because archaeology can tell you about weapons and things like that, which is great. But archaeologists are scientists, so they're very careful not to sort of try to imagine how too much, just assume they know what people were thinking in the Stone Age. For that, I go to anthropology. What do more recent hunter-gatherers do, and how do they think? And again, I've got masses of books, because there's any number of different traditional peoples in the world. But something that I found very useful is Indian Fishing by Hilary Stewart. She's a wonderful author, and she does the most amazing, she studies traditional methods. That's a halibut hook. I didn't realize I was going to open it at that page, just as in Viper's Daughter. And she has, as you can see, the most gorgeous drawings. So it's incredibly useful. And then for, how people think, something on shamanism always comes in handy. This is the classic text on shamanism by Mircea Eliade. I think he's quite controversial now, but, I'm not writing a academic text on shamanism. And then finally, and very usefully, because I'm writing about hunter-gatherers, and of course, there's all sorts of texts on Inuit clothing and things like that. Survival, things like tracking. This is my Oxford book on animal tracks and signs. Very, very useful, because I'm not as good at tracking as Torak is. Sorry, I'm chucking the books away to get them out of the way. So a good tracking book if you're writing about hunter-gatherers. And the SAS survival book. Really useful, how to build shelters and things like that. But, it depends on whether you're looking at Mesolithic or Neolithic. It's completely different. My books are not set in the Neolithic. They're not farmers. And that's a different sort of mindset. But all of these different things help me create or try to get into the mind of Stone Age people, because it's not just the artifacts. What's most important is how do they think. So yes, The Mind in the Cave, somebody was just saying there, oh, thanks for that. But it really is, it's such a good book. It's so brilliantly written. I thought it was breathtaking. And for once, I'm keeping the time quite well, so I'm quite pleased with myself. And the final question is from Isabel, and this is a lovely question. It's one I've never had before. Not that you're all repetitive, but it's quite rare to get completely out of left field. Yes, I am feeling well, thank you. Could Torek be a mage if he wanted to and put his mind to it? Well, that's really interesting because the modern, we're in the West anyway, idea is that you can be anything you like. But I don't think in the Stone Age they would have had that view. And some traditional people don't have that view. And certainly the evidence, a mage is like a shaman. And my answer pretty much is no in Torek's world. He couldn't be a mage if he wanted to or put his mind to it because his mind doesn't work that way. And I've, as I've just indicated in the previous question, I have studied shamanism, which is the sort of traditional magic. A shaman is a mage in Torek's world, and it's somebody who can leave his body and commune with the spirits, and just as a mage does, as in Chronicles. Well, Torek's a spirit walker, which is a little bit similar, but it's not a mage. And no, in traditional peoples, that there are, you just are a mage. So you're. There's a particularly good example of this among the Inuit. Some Inuit people, you can find out if you're a mage by going to a certain particularly sacred rock face at night. And I love this bit. You've just got to walk straight at the rock face, and if you're a born mage, a cave will open up and you can get in. But if you're not, you just go smack up against the rock face. So there you go. Tough luck. That's the way to find out. And there are other ways traditionally in which, you can find out if you're a mage. You go through initiation and you can sort of visualize your skeleton and things like that. So no, Torek can't. He was born a spirit walker, which is good and bad or whatever. His mind doesn't think that way, but Ren's does. She can see patterns and things that other people can't, and associations. And I've always thought that if she was living in the 21st century, she'd probably be a pretty good scientist. So there we are. I hope that answers your question. Great one to finish with. We have now reached... Oh, yes, live chat. I've just had a reminder. Yes, live chat. Okay, so have we got a little sort of selection of the live chats? Because I've been seeing some of them. And there I was thinking I was doing so well on the timing. But anyway, any more plans for other books? Well, I'm in the middle of writing Wolfbane. I do have an idea for another, probably Gothic story. That's going to be quite a long one. And that would be another grown-up one, sort of a companion to Wakenhurst, as it were. So yes. But I'm still not quite sure if that's a goer or not, because it's just an idea. I'm glad you got Gods and Warriors for Christmas. Yes. Well, I hope you enjoy it. Can I ask a question, please, Michelle? What inspired you to write Wolf Brother? Well, that is quite a long story. Short answer is partly being keen on the Stone Age as a child, very keen on wolves, and meeting a bear in California when I was grown up. There is more information in wolfbrother.com, in the cave, what inspired me to write Wolf Brother. Any other questions? Are you going to any non-fiction books? I have no plans for that at all. No, I know people have said, why don't you write a companion piece to the Chronicles, discussing all your sources and things. I can't think of anything I'd less like to do, actually. It would just be horrid. Any news on the TV series that I'm allowed to share? None that I'm allowed to share. It is quite active at the moment, actually. So it hasn't just gone to sleep because of the pandemic. But there's nothing I can really tell you. Is Wakenhurst going to have a sequel? No, it's not. No. So if I said companion piece, I just meant in terms of the type of book. And the length, but no, it's not going to have a sequel. I always thought. And are there any other Yes, which of your books is my favourite and why? I don't really have a favourite. I mean, the answer I usually give to that one is that and this is true, it's usually the one that I've just finished, because that is sort of fresh in my mind, the whole process, the grim process of sorting out the problems and the knotty bits and then producing this book, which I'm very proud of, is fresh in my mind. So at the moment, perhaps it's Skin Taker, the book which is coming out in April, because I finished it. So do I like pine martens? Yes, I do. I've never seen a pine marten in the flesh, as it were. Not even in the zoo. I don't think. No, I don't think I have. I've only seen them on, Autumn Watch and things like that on the television. But I do. I did see once there was this wonderful, a lady had a sort of bird table, feeding table, and this pine marten was coming on every day. Lucky her. I read all your books when I was 7. I was going to read it again, but my books fell down the side of my bed and disappeared. That's rather mysterious. Do you have a black hole underneath your bed? What's my favourite? My favourite book to read? I don't really have one. It changes all the time. I'm very fond of Dostoevsky. I read Crime and Punishment during the last but one lockdown, and it's so brilliant. Where can you find the Sacred Rock? I don't know which particular, the one I was talking about with the Inuit. I don't know which particular one it was. It was just, there may be many of them depending on which Inuit community you are, and it's not all the same. Not every Inuit community says that. So, I don't know. It's a mystery. Do I have a favourite song or musician? I'm pretty much a classical music person, so I don't really have a favourite song. Well, there's probably a clutch of them and my mind's gone blank at the moment, but it would be something by Bach or Beethoven or Schubert, because they're the sort of people, or John Dowland. I was very keen on John Dowland as a teenager. He was an Elizabethan songster and composer. I'm going to have to finish soon because we're running over time, but something these we unfortunately have not. One of the many things I love is the absolute respect for animals. Yes. What do you think? I agree. It's one of the things I kept discovering. And when I was writing about and researching hunter-gatherers and more traditional hunter-gatherers, it's a very straightforward, matter-of-fact, a beautiful example. I think a South American tribe described it, people, the web of life as a woven cloth. And if you pull one thread, it spoils the whole weave. And that's such a brilliant explanation of ecology, really, but they came to it a lot earlier. What are the Karakorums like? Well, I only went in a little bit, but the bit I went through, up and down, lots and lots of up and down, as described in Thin Air, and the different flora and fauna, going through the jungle, it's incredibly hot and mosquito-y, and then you get up, and then there's these strange, twisted rhododendron forests higher up, and then the sort of, very high up when it's getting, above the height of Mont Blanc. It's amazing, actually. And then we had an amazing storm, so I loved them, but I didn't really get up into the proper mountains because, I'm not a mountaineer. Final one, I think. Is there a scene in the Wolf Brother series that really sticks with you vividly? There are lots of them. One that's particularly important to me personally was in Wolf Brother when Torek goes over the waterfall, because that was based on the experiences of my father when he was a young man, and he went over a waterfall that nobody else had survived until he did, through sheer dumb luck. And the whole bit when Torek hits his head afterwards and thinks he's blind because of the blood, that was from my father. So I liked writing that very much. And this is a final one, last one. Will we be encountering any new sorts of animals in Skin Taker? Like we discovered the mammoths in Viper's Daughter. Nothing as new as that. Not new animals. That's all I can say. There's a new animal in Wolfbane, but that's all I'm going to say. Yes, but not the kind of new animal you might think. But that's in Wolfbane. So anyway, thank you very much for all the live chat. Those have been fascinating, some really amazing questions. And thank you, as always, for your great questions. And to those of you who aren't writing in your own language, your English is amazing. Keep the questions coming. It's michellepaver.com. Click on Ask and fill in the form, and I'll answer as many as I possibly can. I can't guarantee anymore to answer every single one. Thanks as always to Elf for running everything and providing all the gorgeous graphics and calling up these questions whenever I click my fingers or not. You can keep up to date with me. I'm going to have to read this bit on Twitter at Michelle Paver, or on YouTube or Instagram. So it's goodbye until the next time. I just, look after yourselves wherever you are. If you're in the UK, please stay home, because we all need to, not bend the rules and just stay home and support the lockdown. And happy reading. Goodbye until next time. Bye.
For the next 4 weeks only, you can listen to the entire Viper's Daughter audiobook, narrated by Sir Ian McKellen.
A bat flitted past Torak as he drew an arrow from his quiver. Wolf raised his muzzle and sniffed the breeze. He glanced at Torak, then into the thicket. There.
Serialized for free on YouTube. Here's how to listen. Go to Michelle's YouTube channel. Just type this short link into your browser and it will take you there. yt.michellepaver.com. You can share this link with your friends. There'll be a new episode every week, so make sure you subscribe to her channel. yt.michellepaver.com. Pass it on. And now for the biggest giveaway we've ever had. 10 lucky winners will receive the entire Viper's Daughter audiobook to keep for free forever. 10 winners. One of them may be you. To win, simply send an email to this address: win@vipersdaughter.com. We'll pick 10 winners at random. Feeling lucky? You could be. win@vipersdaughter.com.